Басталды.
Good afternoon, dear members of the Dissertation Council. By order of the Chairman of the Board, Director of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, number 306, date June 28, 2021, based on the decision of the Academic Council of the University, protocol number 11, date June 22, 2021, the permanent composition of the Dissertation Council for the defense of dissertations for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, the doctoring profile for the period 2021-2024 was approved in the following composition. Kurmanalieva Aynura Durbilena, Chairman, Doctor of Science, Philosophy, Professor, Head of the Department of Religious and Cultural Studies, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Garifullah Yisem, Deputy Chairman, Academician of the National Academy of Science of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Doctor of Science Philosophy, Professor of the Gumilev Eurasian National University, Aljanva Nurluhan Kojabergenna, Academic Secretary, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Masalimova Aliya Arangazinovna, Doctor of Science Philosophy, Professor of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Charles Weller, Candidate of Science Philosophy, Washington State University, USA. The documents of the defense of the dissertation for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD of Terджan Nurfer on the topic Al-Farabi's philosophy of music in the specialty AD 02202 philosophy were accepted by the Dissertation Council on February 27, 2023, with the participation of permanent members of the Dissertation Council at the meeting of March 13, 2023, protocol number 14, appointed temporary members of the Dissertation Council, reviewers, and the date and time of the defense. According to the new requirements on the dissertation defense, 5 temporary members of the Dissertation Council on the topic of the dissertation were approved in the following composition. Karabayev Nur Sirikovich, Doctor of Science Philosophy, Professor, Head of the Department of History of Philosophy, Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow, Russia. Sitakhmetova Natalia Lvovna, Doctor of Science Philosophy, Professor, corresponding member of the National Academy of Science, Chief Researcher of the Institute of Philosophy, Political Science and Religious Studies, Committee of Science, Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Saraykaza Ayajan, Doctor of Science, Philosophy, Professor, Chief Researcher of the Institute of Philosophy, Political Science and Religious Studies, Committee of Science, Minister of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Azerbayev Aslan Dabisbekovich, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Associated Professor, Department of Kazakhstan History, Turayagorov University, Pavlodar, Kazakhstan. Turganbayeva Janara Janatovna, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Junior Operative, Department of the National Security Committee for Almaty, Senior Lieutenant of National Security, Almaty, Kazakhstan. The Dissertation Council meeting is attended by 5 permanent and 5 temporary members of the Council. There is a quorum. On the agenda, defense of the dissertation for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, by Terджan Nurfer. On the topic Al-Farabi's philosophy of music in the specialty 8D 02202 philosophy. For the announcement of information about the applicant and the applicant's documents, the floor is given to the Academic Secretary of the Dissertation Council, PhD, Senior Lecturer Aljanva Nurluhan Kojabergenna. Nurluhan Kojabergenna, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nurfer Terджan completed her undergraduate education in Sales and Marketing, Business Administration at the United Campus of Malta. She educated her specialization in sociology at the Kiev National Taras Shevchenko University and had completed her master's degree in sociology with the decision of the State Evaluation Commission. She did her master's thesis based on research in the field of scientific and pedagogical direction. And as of 2019-2022, she has been continuing her doctoral education in the Department of Philosophy at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. The dissertation topic of Terджan Nurfer, Al-Farabi's philosophy of music, domestic and foreign scientific advisors were approved by order number 4874 on February 12, 2020. As a domestic advisor, Nurisheva Guljihan Jumabayevna, Doctor of Science in Philosophy, Professor from Department of Philosophy, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. And as international advisor, Georgi Steiris, Doctor of Philosophy, Professor National and the Capodstrian, the University of Athens, Professor of Medieval and Renaissance Philosophy, were approved. The dissertation was carried out at the Department of Philosophy at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. The main content of the dissertation is reflected in 3 publications recommended by the Committee for Control in the Field of Education and Science of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education, 4 publications in the materials of international conferences, 2 publications in the included in the Scopus database. All documents submitted to the applicants by the applicant comply with the requirements of the Control Committee of Education and Science of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. The personal file of the applicant Nurfer Terджan contains copies of diplomas of higher and post-university education, list of published works, positive reviews of scientific advisors, means of the extended meeting of the Department of Philosophy, and other documents according to the requirements of the rules of the awarding degrees. Nurfer Terджan held an extended meeting at the Department of Philosophy at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University on November 28, 2022, by protocol number 5. The meeting was attended by 27 professors. The reviewers were Doctor of Philosophy, Professor Karabayeva Olga Garatovna, Doctor of Philosophy Science, Professor Altayev Zhakhbek Altayevich, PhD Associate Professor Zhanabayeva Dinara Mukhtarovna, and Senior Lecturer Amnibayeva Jamila Timirkulina. All the comments of the reviewers and departments were answered. Shortcomings were eliminated. The protocol was approved by the member of the Management Board, Vice Rector for Social Development of the Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Aidosov Nurjan Sarsambekovich. Nurfer Terджan's dissertation was accepted for defense by the Dissertation Council of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University in the specialties 8D no 02202 Philosophy, and the defense date is April 26, 2023 at 3 p.m. The following were approved as official opponents. First, Ibzharova Shalpana Daralina, candidate of Philosophy Science, Associate Professor, School of Politics and Law, Almaty Management University. And the second reviewer, Tanabayeva Narsada Okasna, Doctor of Philosophy, Assistant Professor, School of Media Communication and History of Kazakhstan, International Information Technologies University. Thank you.
Thank you, Nurulhan Kuzhibirgenna. Dear member, do you have any questions for the academic secretary of the applicant? If not, then the word for the report is given to the applicant. The time limit is 15-20 minutes.
Nurfer.
Nurfer, please.
You can present now. Sorry, Nurfer, do you hear us? You can present now your dissertation. Mute, please. Unmute yourself, Nurfer. Unmute yourself, please. Start
Okay.
again. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we do hear you.
Can you restart, Nurfer?
Hello.
You can start, Nurfer.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Okay, hello, dear all committee, all professors. I would like to start my presentations right now. This dissertation's approach is to acquire Al-Farabi's point of view on the philosophy of music. Under the heading of Farabi's music philosophy, we determine that music is not just about the art and entertainment. For this reason, he carried the theme of the higher level in terms of science and philosophy with his proof method studies. First of all, we aim to discover the traces of Farabi's inquiry method from his works. A philosopher and musician, Abu Nasr al-Farabi wrote on the perplexity, logic, astronomy, linguistic, politics, mathematics, geometry, medicine, optics, philosophy, and music, known as the second teacher, the first being Aristotle. This investigation contributes to practical and theoretical music proposing formation in the context of correlation. General description of work, the dissertation is aimed at the studying at the Al-Farabi's philosophy of music. The work describes the history of music, the correlation of music, philosophy, and aesthetics, as well as the essence of music. The dissertation reveals the peculiarity of Al-Farabi's philosophy of music based on the study of Al-Farabi's work, Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir. The relevance of research topic, the recognition of Al-Farabi as the first philosopher of the Islamic world, and his treatises were studied in Europe many years ago, encouraged us to take an inventory of his works. Al-Farabi was included in memorial list by UNESCO on the occasion of the 150th anniversary of his birth in 2020, and that encouraged us to focus on this topic. Among the works of Al-Farabi, his philosophical arguments about music stand out. The art of music has had an important place in human life since early times. Man perceives music across time, so music is a temporal art. However, it is also spatial because a transmission medium is required for sound to be heard. Finally, music is not a temporal and spatial, but also formal. The importance of music for rational and vital perception in human life is indisputable. Philosophy has examined causality in music perception and values on a multidisciplinary basis. Music is at the base of universal existence and helps to illustrate the harmony, rhythm, and aesthetic required for the formation of order. Researching what music is and how it has been understood and used is ancient time is like diving into a deep ocean, is discovering its vast layers without ever sinking to the bottom. So much so that in very word of wise thinkers and page of thoughts can be produced, but the point of dissertation is that every precious verse vibrates voice that exists within us and inspire us to live in the idea that will deepen. For those who seek to broaden their understanding of music by examining both the systematic and historical areas of research and knowledge of philosophy of music, this study presents the information covering the practical and theoretical arts education of researchers, musicians in the field of general philosophy as an interdisciplinary review of these as a whole. The degree of development of problem, the role of music in the life of a human and society has been the subject of research by philosophers since antiquity to the present day. It was considered in their works by Plato and Aristotle. The legacy of Al-Farabi was studied by Western philosophers, Metz, Copleston, Passes, Gabriel, as well as the Islamic Arabist Muhsin Mehdi, specialist in medieval philosophy, Majid Ferri, professor of the American University of Beirut, Fuad Haddad, historian and researcher of the Middle East, Professor Shukran Abid, British philosopher Salim Kamil, American philosopher and political scientist Christopher Coleman, Greek scholar specialist in ancient and medieval philosophy George Steris, as well as American political scientist and comparativist Alexander Arvin. French Farabi studies are of particular value. The French School of Philosophy studies the legacy of Farabi and the other medieval Arabic-speaking philosophers as indivisible corpus of text. For example, the philosopher Henry Corbin considers the philosophy of Al-Farabi in the context of history of Muslim philosophical concepts as its integral component. Another specialist of Middle East, Ali Ben Mahlouf, speaks in favor of the theory of Turkish original Al-Farabi. The philosophy of Al-Farabi is also studied in the works of Emir Cizner, German-American history of philosophy, Leo Strauss, professor of Arab and Islamic philosophy at the University of the Tunis, Mensia Mohad Arfa, doctor of philosophy and philology at the University of Paris, Pendian Sorbonne, Meyronov, and others. The philosophy of Al-Farabi was studied by Russian scientists Margarita Stefanians, Nurkrabayev, and Andrei Smirnov, and others. In Kazakhstan, back in the 60s, the fundamental principles of the study of systematization and interpretation of the teaching of Al-Farabi were laid. The Kazakh School of Farabi Studies was founded by representatives of various areas, theoretical research, philosophers and theologians, and geologists and translators, diplomats and Orientalists, writers and poets. El-Mashhani, Aegean and Kazmanov, Aynur, Alimzanov, Absatar, Dermisalani, and many others. In our time, this work continues fruitfully. Kazan, named after Al-Farabi, regularly conducts the Farabi readings with the participation of well-known foreign and domestic Farabi scholars. New studies, hermeneutical interpretation of his works, philosophical article, monograph are published at all levels. The works of Abdul Melik Nisanbayev, Mukash Murabakayev, Clara Tajikova, Galia Kurmagaliyeva, Galim Kayer Mutanov, Natalia Stakov Metanova, Zakip Bek, Altayev, Guzihan Nursheva, Aliya Masilnova, Akmaral, Surgabeyeva, Aynura Kurmanabilieva, Aslan Aserbayev, Anar Tanabayeva, Asya Hasanova, Laura Turarbekona are devoted to the study of Al-Farabi's philosophy. The doctoral dissertation of Saida Dowbekova is devoted to the philosophy of Al-Farabi music. Despite this, we believe that the work we have done should make a certain contribution to the study of the great legacy of Al-Farabi. Object of study, the Al-Farabi's philosophy of music. The subject matter of dissertation, the history of music since antiquity and the Al-Farabi's philosophy of music. The purpose of and objectives of this research work. This study's ultimate purpose to provide a contemporary, in-depth and systematic analysis and several criteria aspects of Al-Farabi's music and science. Objectives to consider the correlation of philosophy, music, aesthetic in ancient philosophy. To study music as a form, aesthetic consciousness, to reveal the essence of structure of Al-Farabi's of music, to present the content of Al-Farabi's work, Kitab al-Music al-Kabir, and determine its role in world culture. Explore Al-Farabi's consideration of music through the connection of sensation, perception, emotions, thinking, and reasoning. Theoretical and methodological foundation of the study. As a starting point, the dissertation aims to find hidden meanings that have remained unresolved with 9th and 10th century themes. Such legacy, which has been explored by sophisticated contemporary researchers, but has continued to be valid in the current age, will be revealed through meaning, evidence, analysis, and translations of studies. We attempt to strengthen the dialogue between interdisciplinary perspectives and new methodologies across the philosophical spectrum, capitalizing on the opportunity to question and rethink Al-Farabi's traditional research methods. This research focuses on his methodology, a multi-phase conceptualization of the scope and interrelation of sciences. First, the fundamental question shaping this debate is both epistemological and methodological. What analytic tools and disciplines can people use to study musical influences, and how the principles that govern them? Second, this study highlights the link between physics and metaphysics as a scientific method, its arrangements, techniques, the importance of the observation, experience, and nature of the evidence associated with these sciences. In this sense, this study direction is driven by Al-Farabi synthesis of works dating back to Aristotelianism and Neoplatonism. Scientific novelty of the research, the primary material of dissertation started with the Arabic-Turkish translation of Al-Farabi's Arabic work that we made with Istanbul University Farabi Center, coordinator of Professor Abdullah Kızılcık. Furthermore, with the analysis of this study, I completed the English translation with the leadership of my dissertation supervisor, Professor Dr. Gülzihan Nursheva. Along with this, we also analyzed some library analysis studies in addition to the written treatises, philosophers, research theses that provide information about the history of philosophy, philosophy dictionaries, and the written research that provides information about the teaching Plato and Aristotle, and among which we use. Provisions for defense all scientific theories with the names of Greek philosophers, including the theorems of Thales and Pythagoras, were used in Mesopotamia civilization at least 1,000 years ago. Plato had the most decisive, the basic structure of system of academic science. Aristotle established logic and the methodology of science that we still use today. Its methodology is based on a logic classification to construct the philosophy metaphysics system. The integrity of the classification is also based on a logic principle. A field with fewer principles has more certainty and priority and is foundation of the following field, the pride of arithmetic over geometry. To understand and learn is to discover the midterm, and that connects a general principle or concept with the related object. Logic, ontology, ethics and politics, arts and education. Aristotle's metric system was followed through the Middle Ages. Muhammad al-Farabi al-Turki has been called the second teacher of humanity after Aristotle. Farabi restructured this Aristotle system. He authored a remarkable book entitled Classification of Science, Ihsan al-Ulum, that we call back. The second is confronting an art object, perceiving, making sense of, and analyzing that art object is quite different from our daily life experience. The art object can contain meaning beyond its visible form, and the art audience shares analysis of this meaning. The boundaries between art, science, and technique are losing their former clarity, and intersections are growing, expanding rapidly. In other words, art, science, technology have destroyed the walls between them, have turned into an intervened production area. There are different forms of consciousness. Aesthetic consciousness, historical consciousness, and scientific consciousness approach, we discuss the basic information in general. Consciousness forms express people's various attitudes towards life, the universe, and human relationships. These forms were formed during the historical development of man. Each reflects various and specific aspects of human life. Our aim in this study was to deal with the aesthetic consciousness, which is one of these forms of consciousness that has important place in the life of the individual. Now we also discuss with artificial intelligence what I want to say, just additional. Measure is an indispensable element in both poetry and music. Farabi is the first philosopher who applied measure and rhythm to music accompaniment system and wrote two comprehensive labors on this subject. Before Al-Farabi, Isaac and Mausili and Kindi, who were zealous in laying in the foundation of music, also focused on the theory of music. Isaac, Mausili, and Kindi, who were diligent in the laying foundation of music before Al-Farabi, also focused on the theory of music. However, Farabi criticized them for writing in the philosophy of music, the cosmological basis of knowledge and scientific theories there is something fill in the blanks I would like to add here. The essence of these discussions is that the concepts in the works they examine are translated as they were written in ancient Greece without knowing whether they make sense in practice. Farabi negotiate about tunes and rhythms that are suitable for human nature in his works on music, as if reversing the claims of some ethnomusicologists who saw early Islamic music as consisting only of theory. He focused on applicability of these, not only theory, but also in practice. Al-Farabi's Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir involves a wide range of experience, observation, and philosophy and proof theory. However, the great book explains the importance of induction in the most systematic and detailed approach. Many principles occur through sensitivity experience, as in astronomy, optics, medicine, and other science. Al-Farabi defines theoretical arts as the result of a deductive method that examines their relationship from a cause of to effect, from the foundation of existence to the foundation of cognition. The paradigm was emphasized in his work, Kitab al-Musica, in relation to the science and philosophy of music. Understanding the auditory process that occur while listening to the music can assist inferences about the causality of music and may even provide some clues to its origin. Music provides a powerful stimulus to explore interesting auditory phenomena. Al-Farabi mentions knowledge and recognition of primary meaning through the power and foresight of science and philosophy. Kitab al-Musica focuses on true nature of music in terms of content and structure. The order of evolution is based on the hierarchy of sciences, from established knowledge to logic, mathematics, physical, socio-ethnics, and metaphysics to knowledge. Al-Farabi points out that deduction and experiment are complementary as are history and logic. The Kitab al-Musica has given us an idea about causality and necessity of working on the philosophy of music, along with the scientific method leading to the knowledge of the unknown first and subsequting foundation. The philosophy of music helps to interpret and make sense of thoughts from a phenomenological perspective. Al-Farabi also writes, the body and the sense determine person's philosophy and thoughts. The question whether music contains emotions or has an effect that can reveal emotion is still at the center of philosophy in the Courage Age. In summary, the search for an answer to a fascinating question, how music can encode emotion, continues. The view that music encodes the emotion it contains rather than just triggering memories in the listener further supports the need asked the question. Each effect, new technology finds a response on the level of philosophy and society. Therefore, every innovation reaches a relation equivalent in art, which shares the same vital values with the cultural dynamics. Although the actions and outputs defined as art show multi-layered features related to the knowledge, they're embodied as objects or actions of perception and sensations. Thus, as the extensions of media and that affect and even determine the relationship between humans and changes in the environment, the actions and outputs of art that are embodied or abstracted will also undergo a transformation, and in the same way. Farabi argues that sensation is an abstraction realized through the sense organs within this framework. That sensation, which represents the lowest level of knowledge, consists of acquiring material forms by the mind, by preserving their human relations. Accordingly, sensations and envisions that the objects form within the secular state. The stage abstraction after the sensation is determined by imaginary perception. Nevertheless, the imagination grabs material forms in their temporal relations, not in complete abstractions. However, he envisions the objects not with its characteristics, but within its generic structures at the last stage of, according to Farabi. So while it corresponds to an abstraction process that essentially takes place in mind, passing through the stage of knowing, sensation, and imaginations, it expresses an essence from the particular to the universal, or from material form, the fully intangible form. Practical significance of study. This dissertation consequence has theoretical and practical significance. The cognitive approach allows more extensive research to examine artistic creativity from a philosophical perspective. Inference and conclusions are consistent with the interdisciplinary research and can be used in teaching a general course of a philosophy of music, psychology, cultural studies, and other social and humanitarian sciences, as well as in musical practice. Elaboration of the research result, the scientific result of dissertation work were published at scientific and practical conferences in scientific publications. 9 articles have been published on research on the research topic, among them in the journal recommended by the Committee for Quality Assurance in the Education and Science of the Ministry of Education and Science of the Republic of Kazakhstan. 3 journals at Adam Alemi Al-Farabi at the scientific and practical international conferences. And there are the linguistic bibliography. This is the what I would like to mention is linguistic area. The other is ethno-social area, the social sciences area, mission of the confession in Moscow. The dissertation was discussed on, it was in November. The subject areas, the dissertation discussion, this dissertation was discussed on the 20th of November 20 and 22 at expanded meeting of expanded national university named after Al-Farabi protocol, and recommended for defense structure and scope of work. The structure of the dissertation work is determined by the goal of set and objectives to research. The thesis consists of introduction 6 sensations, and the work is presentation is printed text, that is all we done. I really would like to thank you that you give me this chance to present my summarized of dissertation defense. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nurfer. Thank you. Thanks. The report is over. Do you have any question for the applicant, the member? Please.
Айнура.
Ага. Айжан Сағиқызы.
Да. Здравствуйте, коллеги. Miss Nurfer, can you tell me what place Al-Farabi's philosophy of music occupies in modern music theory? What is the scientific novelty of your work? What new scientific results have you received? Thank you.
Thank you, Ayjan Sağiqızı.
May I?
Any questions? Aslan Dubaspekovich, please.
Nurfer, what could you say about ethical component of Al-Farabi's philosophy of music? It's the first. And the second, is there Al-Farabi's philosophical concept about music in culture, art of Turkic nations?
Thank you, Aslan Dubaspekovich.
Айнур Дургулевна, можно вопрос задать?
Да, Наталья Львовна, можно? Ваш вопрос.
Уважаемый диссертант, спасибо за презентацию вашей работы. У меня, собственно, два вопроса. Первый вопрос. В вашей диссертации очень подробно представлен западный дискурс о философии музыки. И вот в связи с этим у меня вопрос такой. Делаете вы различия между вот этим западным дискурсом философии музыки и, собственно, исламским дискурсом философии музыки? Это вот один вопрос. Нурлыхан, переведете, да, если будет непонятно, да?
Да.
И
различие между западным и исламским дискурсом.
Да, есть ли это различие, представляет ли она? Потому что очень много представлен западный, очень большое количество страниц посвящено именно этому. И второй вопрос у меня такой. Вот в чем особенность философии музыки Абу Насра аль-Фараби? В чем его особенность? Почему мы сегодня, в постнормальные времена, все еще интерпретируем его знаменитый трактат? Спасибо.
Хорошо.
Спасибо, Наталья Львовна. Есть еще другие вопросы?
Do you need translation of this question, Nurfer? Or you did understand? Unmute yourself, please. We don't hear you. You need to unmute you. Whenever you speak, please unmute.
Yes, I need this. I need
clarification.
Yes.
Translation. Okay. First question, in your dissertation work, there are a lot of discourse for Western scholars. And did you make any this comparative or analyze the difference between Western and Islamic discourse on this Al-Farabi music theory? And the second question, what is the which is the features of Al-Farabi's music theory? Then we even nowadays in 21st century, still we narrate, still we interpret. So what is the specific of this? Is it clear?
The second question is,
what is the specific? What is the specific? What is the features of Al-Farabi's music theory nowadays in modern world? Thank you.
Будут еще вопросы? Если позволите, I have two questions. First question, Nurfer. What is study level of Al-Farabi music in Turkey? And what is their contribution and difference from other scientists? It is one question. And second question is, we know that many Turkish scientists like Yaşar Aydınlı, Hayrani Altınşaş studied the legacy of Al-Farabi. Did you analyze and cite their works?
May I please ask the question?
Yes, Caner Jannatkızı. Please.
Nurfer, can you say that Al-Farabi's music relates to ethics? And if so, what ethical values it contains? And the second question, what values may Al-Farabi's music teach contemporary philosophers too? Thank you.
can you repeat again, please? I couldn't.
What can you say? can you say that Al-Farabi's music relates to ethics? And if so, what ethical values it contains? And the second question,
Yes.
what values may Al-Farabi's music teach contemporary philosophers too?
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
Do you have any question for the applicant? Do you remember?
For now, not.
Мгм.
I wrote all the questions.
Коллеги, есть вопросы еще?
Есть.
Ага, Танабаева. Anar Sabakasna, please, your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. So
Mhm.
we all know about the concept of insan al-kamil from Al-Farabi. So how the concept of music influenced to this concept, according to Al-Farabi, of course. Thank you.
Can you repeat again, please? How?
Okay, so we know that Al-Farabi has his own concept of insan al-kamil, yes? So the perfect person's concept, yes? How to be perfect. So in this regard, how philosophy of music influenced and all relates to this concept, according to Al-Farabi? Thank you.
Okay.
Mhm. Do you have any question for the applicant? Do you remember? Mhm. If not, then the word for the answer of question is given to the applicant.
Nurfir, please, you can start to
Mhm.
answer the questions, reply. Thank you.
Actually, for the first question, what scientific result? The first question was this, as far as I can hear. Was it right?
Right, it was by Professor Ayjan Sagi.
Yeah. We got the scientific result is I would like to answer this question. Let me choose. I would like to choose the right words. We try to analyze the dissertation epistemological structure and the scientific structure and the philosophical structure. It was really hard to take in all these three-line structure in the same at the same structure to analyze as a thesis, as a dissertation. If it was just a research, just writing just a book, it was so easy. You can divide in a chapter, for example, in a 2 topic or something, but we were writing a dissertation. We have to keep them on the same line. For example, if we talking about the ontological, we have to keep all the topics. We have to criticize the topics on the ontological level. That was so hard to which I have to say that is theoretically the result of the scientific we have to this, but we have the scientific thing, what we have not tangible, intangible, we have also scientific result. What we have, yes, the mind is affecting by music. What we have, Al-Farabi has anecdote. When Al-Farabi has, it is a real anecdote. When Al-Farabi was played Sufism flute in a hall, in a Halifate hall, meeting hall, everyone was slept. When he played a harmony melody, everyone was laughed. When he played another, in just second, he changed these melodies. Everyone was cried. And the other, I will give two answers, two questions. The other answer is the Turkish music, which you ask. We have, ezan, Baghdad and Egypt ezan makams. We have all about, basically, it is created by Al-Farabi's harmonies. When you wake up in the morning, especially Baghdad ezan in Egypt ezan, when you awake, it is a scientific result. You feel that little bit different sadness. It influences you. It is intangible result. I can say that now. But in the evening, it is different sounds. In the lunchtime, ezan is different sounds. All are effects to the people, different. Especially the funeral ezan is different sounds. It is all founded by Al-Farabi. These are all Al-Farabi's makams, is called. And the second question, may I answer the second question?
Yes, sure, please go.
Second question. Comparative Islam and the others. Yes, we were actually we analyzed all antiquity philosophy, and actually we didn't keep us when we criticize and analyze ourselves, and like Al-Farabi. Al-Farabi also analyzed like this. He didn't keep himself when he analyzed the music, Christianity or Jewish or another religions. We also, kept ourselves in the center without any religion dress. We also analyze in our dissertation, because music is the universal, because sound is just a vibration. When you get in through the sound vibrations, in the vibrations there is nothing. Actually, in the vibrations there is no epistemology, no knowledge, no information. There is only sounds. That is why in our dissertation you can also find this knowledge, this topic, this chapter. We also actually there is what we mentioned, how we mentioned Hila discussion. We mentioned like Hila discussion, John Locke discussion. And specific nowadays specific Al-Farabi. That was what our actually it was. We kept our dissertations subjects and topics very large, from antiquity to the to this day. But our aim mainly is for today. Why we translated the Kitab al-Musica, because the neurophilosophy, neuromind philosophy, actually as a discipline subject in the academic area, they called after the 20th century. We mentioned in our dissertation, the first, the father, the name of the father is Sherrington. Actually, we mentioned in, it is Al-Farabi. That is why we try to translate this Kitab al-Musica to prove that this actually the philosophy of mind influenced by not only music, influenced the brain by every information, every sound, not only it started from the 20th century. And we've just criticized, analyzed from the 20th century or 21st century. We've just started. That's why I would like to just leave this dissertation or some message to leave for the future with Al-Farabi's knowledge. That is why my main aim was this, to leave for the future. And the other question was sorry, the ethical, Al-Farabi's ethical and perfect city and wisdom city. I would like to give this two questions to different professors' question with the same and in the same answer because they're so close. Al-Farabi has a unique position in terms of associating individual and social symbols, the people's abilities with the culture of the society. The symbolic aspect of religion or relieved knowledge aims to tell the truth ordinary people in line with their cultural level and knowledge. Al-Farabi's metaphysic views are the basis of his ethic thought, examines the relationship of Al-Farabi's ethic with music, music philosophy, philosophy of mind, and cognitive epistemology, and sociology, and education and politics. If we draw in the same structure like Al-Farabi, we can find in the Kitab el-Musica, all about Medinetul Fadla, with the all about perfectity. What Al-Farabi mentioned, we all read from the perfecity, about the music, about the education, about the cognitive. And the first chapter, he all argue with the external senses, with the five senses, intelligence, theoretical, scientific, and perfecity and music. In the first chapter, he all discuss about this, like Medinetul Fadla. I try to answer the ethic and perfecity in both. His approach to the Kitab el-Musica is totally like this. And that we have Yaşar Aydınlı. Actually, I try to find something to really to write from Professor Yaşar Aydınlı, but Yaşar Aydınlı mainly studied totally epistemologic and logic. That is why I couldn't I couldn't cite it a few places for Yaşar Aydınlı, but now I wrote a new article about all about epistemological intelligence, and I studied with Yaşar Aydınlı, but not music. I'm sorry, because Professor Yaşar has only mainly logic and epistemology.
Thank you.
Specific.
And about Hayrani Altınşaş.
Hayrani Altınşaş. I will this one take a note. I will take this one note.
Thank you. Next question.
Perfect. Scientific result, comparative. I think the other question for the Turkish music about I would like to say something more. Actually, mainly Al-Farabi, you know, there is 12 makams, but mainly everybody knows that why I would like to search really respectfully my words, try to search my words respectfully to the other philosophers. You know, before I translated the Kitab el-Musica, maybe I could think about like this, because of Kitab el-Edvar. You know, there is Kitab el-Edvar, and there's other translations, but mainly Kitab el-Edvar. There's a few they mentioned about Al-Farabi's music, but only Ibn Sina's, they wrote only Ibn Sina's music, only Ibn Sina's, they mentioned only Ibn Sina found a music for health. They all wrote about this, but that is why there is really false knowledge. They say that Al-Farabi has against the numbers of the notes, and they say that Al-Farabi wrote 7 notes, but Al-Farabi has 12 notes, 12 maqams, because of, we cited in the dissertation, Al-Farabi wrote the 12 maqams, therefore Ibn Sina wrote the 12 maqams. Al-Farabi didn't against the Pythagoras. Al-Farabi only against the Pythagoras, sound of spheres. You know, Pythagoras says that spheres, planets has sound. Al-Farabi says that no, planet doesn't have sound. Only this. But the others, Al-Farabi says, yes, there is 12 notes, 12 tones, 12 harmony. And Al-Farabi, you know, Al-Farabi, he is the first person wrote the 12 tunes and maqams. You know, if I have a time, I would like to mention another anecdote. It is really interesting. This is what I really influenced, that I decided to write this dissertation when I read this anecdote. When Al-Farabi went to a funeral with the Khalifa, you know, funeral, grave, a wind came, you know, the one man dead, they put in the that man in the grave, in the solid, everyone left the dead, right? Only Al-Farabi was in the funeral grave, and the wind came, okay? But it was so strong. And when the wind came, another grave, the old body, old dead people, solid was a little bit went out. The one dead people, he saw one dead people body, and he saw all the vein of the body, you know, and he saw that, oh, there is another, I can make another music instrument, and he counted all the veins like music instrument. He found the 12 maqams like this, 12 notes, 12 maqams, like the dead body. Yeah, I cannot tell all the story here, but I can send this story to you. It's so strange, I know. That's why what I can say that Turk music system and musical roots, only aesthetic pleasure we kept to the Al-Farabi Turkish maqam. The best example is Bağdat Etan and Ottoman Turkish, you know, Ottoman Turkish, classic Turkish, Kanun, Ottoman Palace, Sultan Süleyman Palace, Hürrem Sultan Palace, music time, all about these Al-Farabi's music, not Ibn Sina.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Do you finish, Nurfer?
Yes, all question finish, I think. Then if there's another question, I'm ready to answer.
Yes, thank you. Dear member of Dissertation Council, are all questions answered? Other questions? Dear member? No? Yes, also to get acquainted with the review of the domestic scientific consultant, the floor is given to Professor Nurusheva Gulzhihan Jumabayevna, Doctor of Science, Philosophy, Professor, Department of Philosophy, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Please, Gulzhihan Jumabayevna.
Рахмет. Қайырлы күн, құрметті диссертация кеңесінің мүшелері. Бүгін біздің докторантымыз Нурфер Терканның диссертациясын талдағандарыңызға көп рахмет. Good day, dear Professor Georgios. I would like to thank you for the successful preparation of Mr. Terджан for her defense of doctoral degree. Енді Нурфер Терджанның жұмысы туралы айтатын болсам, Нурфер Терджан ханым философия мамандығы бойынша докторантураға 2020 жылдың қаңтар айында түсті. Докторантураның бірінші күннен бастап ол өзін алдына мақсат қоя білетін, еңбекқор және терең ойлайтын ізденуші ретінде көрсетті. Оның диссертациясының тақырыбы Аль-Фарабидің философия музыкасы деп музыка философиясы деп белгіленді. Себебі ол ғылымға кездейсоқ келмеген, докторантураға түскенге дейін Аль-Фарабидің музыка философиясы бойынша ізденіс жүргізіп, монография дайындаған ізденуші. Нурфер Терджан диссертация тақырыбы бойынша Scopus базасына кіретін жоғары рейтингті журналдарда 2 мақала, 3-ші мақаласы енді шығайын деп жатыр осы сәуір айында. Қазақстан Республикасы ғылым және жоғары білім министрлігінің ғылым мен білімдегі сапаны қадағалау комитеті ұсынған ғылыми журналдарда бірнеше мақала дайындады, яғни талаптардың бәрін орындады. Сонымен қатар Нурфер Терджан қазақ және түрік ғалымдарымен бірге аудармалар дайындады, ізденіс нәтижелерін отандық және шетелдік конференциялар мен симпозиумдарда баяндады. Баяндалған мақалалардың бәрі, аудармалардың бәрі ол Аль-Фарабидің музыка философиясы тақырыбына жазылған. Оның диссертациясы 6 тараудан тұрады және олардың бөлімдері тақырыпты жан-жақты ашуға бағытталған. Аль-Фарабидің музыка философиясы оның математика, медицина, психология, логика бойынша еңбектерінен ерекше, және оның музыка философиясы әлемдік музыка мен мәдениет теориясына әсер етті. Міне Нурфер Терджан өзінің диссертациясында осы тұжырымды дәлелдеп шықты деп айтуға болады. Диссертант музыканың адам тәні мен ақылына әсерін зерттеуді, музыка философиясын ашуды мақсат етті, және ол мақсатына жетті деп айтуға болады. Өзінің диссертациясында ол музыканың қысқаша тарихын баяндап, музыка, философия және эстетиканың ара қатынасын көрсетті, бақылау, сезіну және қабылдауды талдау арқылы музыканың мәнін ашты. Эстетикалық рахатта эмоциялық әсер етуді, саналы мен бейсеналыны философиялық тұрғыдан зерттеуді оның диссертациясының маңызды жағы деп есептеймін. Осындай кіріспеден кейін Нурфер Терджан Аль-Фарабидің музыка философиясын зерттеуді бастайды, яғни 4-ші, 5-ші, 6-ші тараулар. Оның китап Аль-Музик Аль-Кабир еңбегінің мазмұнын талдауға ерекше назар аударады. Диссертант Аль-Фарабидің өнер философиясын, себеп пен салдардың өзара қатынасын зерттеуші дедуктивті тәсілдің нәтижесі ретінде дұрыс анықтайды. Менің пікірімше, музыка теориясын математика, физика және ақыл-ой туралы ғылымның пәнаралық қырынан зерттеудің маңызы туралы тезис аса өзекті. Себебі адамдар естіп, сезініп, ойлап, пайымдап және түсініп үйренуі тиіс. Диссертант эмоцияларды ашудағы суретшінің ерекше рөлін дұрыс атап көрсетеді. Осылайша ол музыканың психологиясына назар аударады. Бұл философия мен ғылымның арасындағы байланысты қалпына келтіруге көмектесер еді. Докторант Нурфер Терджанның диссертациясы мен ғылыми ізденісін талдауды аяқтай отырып, оның Аль-Фараби музыкасын философиялық тұрғыдан зерттеу бойынша үлкен жұмыс атқарғанын аттарын атап көрсетемін. Ол бізге бұрын таныс емес шетелдік әдебиетті ғылыми айналысқа енгізді. Бұл Қазақстанның философия, психология, музыка ғылымдарының дамуына қомақты үлес қосатыны сөзсіз. Нурфер Терджан алдына қойылған міндеттерді толық орындады және Әл-Фарабидің музыка философиясын зерттеуде жаңа нәтижелерге қол жеткізді. Оның диссертациясы біздің отандық, қазақстандық философиядағы жаңа құбылыс, сондықтан оның жұмысын философия мамандығы бойынша PhD атағын алу үшін қорғауға ұсынуға болады. Рахмет.
Рахмет, Гүлжихан Жұмабайқызы. Дәл осы Әл-Фарабидің музыка философиясы бойынша негізі бізде Әліпбай Маржан Башанқызы да өзінің еңбегін арнаған еді. Енді Нурфер қосып қояды деген ойдамыз. Thank you very much. As a scientific consultant, you have done a lot of research work together with your doctoral student. We really hope that this dissertation will be published as a monograph in the near future. Thank you, Guljihan Jumabayqızı. To get acquainted with the review of the foreign scientific consultants, the floor is given of Georgis Teris, Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, Professor, National and Kapodistrian University of Athens, Greece, Professor of Medieval and Renaissance Philosophy. Please, Professor.
Now, first of all, I would like to express my pleasure for being with you here in such a glorious day for Nurfer. I would like also to express my gratitude to Professor Noriseva for our collaboration. It was very fruitful. She's a good friend of mine, and I hope we will continue our collaboration in the future. First of all, I would like to congratulate Nurfer for her work. She worked hard these few years to produce her text. Her dissertation is a contribution to research, since so far a lot of researchers had done significant work in Al-Farabi's music or in Al-Farabi's philosophy. According to my knowledge, Nurfer accomplished to bring together those two separate fields, and especially to focus on the aesthetic element of Al-Farabi's philosophy of music. Al-Farabi's aesthetic so far in international research is not so thoroughly examined. So for that reason, I think that her work is a contribution to research in international terms. And also her attempt to present to your audience some significant authors and research scholars from the West is also, I think, a contribution to research in Kazakhstan. Once again, my congratulations to Nurfer for her research, and I wish her career to get a new boost in the years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Professor Georgios. Your inputs and suggestions have been invaluable in helping applicants to refine and strengthen her work. I am grateful for your commitment to excellence and your willingness to support applicants' academic growth. Thank you very much. The floor is given to reviewer Ibzharova Shulpan Aydaraliyevna, candidate of Science Philosophy, Associated Professor, School of Politics and Law, Almaty Management University.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, chairman and member of dissertation councils. I want to congratulate everyone with the beginning today the process of defending Turkan Nurfer's doctoral dissertation, The Philosophy of Music of Al-Farabi, in the specialty of philosophy, and wish everyone to fruitful work. Dear colleague, before I acquaint you with the text of my review of thesis, I would like to share my existential impression. First of all, I was struck by the volume of the work, 272 pages. Usually it is difficult to read the works of big volume. Believe me, I have read from the first to the last page. This is firstly a tribute to the researcher and the supervisor. Secondly, philosophical intellectual heritage of Al-Farabi is still actual and not losing its connection with modernity because it's universalism. Therefore, this interest to researchers should only make us glad, as well as the philosophical community of the Turkic world. Finally, the philosophy of music on a spiritual level exists in connection with the emergence of Dimash Kudaibergen of the world state of acquaintance with his work. Turkan Nurfer, following the work of Al-Farabi, speaks about the universality of language of music, which influences all level of human hypostasis, bodily, emotional, mental, and spiritual, which is practically complemented by Dimash performance and creativity. Allow me to share the link of this song. Make 4 minutes and 6 seconds to listen to the song Ave Maria, performed by Dimash as the final gala concert of the international contest of young performance in Wave 2021. I have only 2 questions for the researcher. Please listen, Nurfer, and think about it while I read my review of your thesis. First, if various times the end of the performance, I would like to set the listening to one composition of Dimash to comment of his performance from the point of view of Al-Farabi music philosophy. What ideas of Al-Farabi philosophy are practically realized in his performance? Next question, what are the prospects of studying of Al-Farabi philosophy personally in your work? What do you plan to actualize in his philosophy? And now let me give you my review. We have 10 criteria. First, number 1, the dissertation research and as a result corresponds to the priority areas of science development several positions. These are a 7-point research in social science and humanities, a 7.2 fundamental applied interdisciplinary research in the humanities, and the 7.21 Greek names and Greek eras, the legend of Al-Farabi by Ahmed Baitursunov, Golden Horde, and Alash audience. And next point, the dissertation has been prepared as a part of the format study of the doctoral dissertation in the specialty philosophy and was carried of the Department of Religion and Cultural Study at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Criteria number 2, important for the science. The dissertation is relevant across cultural study, Western Arab, Persian, Turkic philosophies, proving the multicultural, original, and universalism of Al-Farabi creative heritage. The dissertator introduced his own commented translation of the original Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir into scholarly use, as well as a previously translated version in English and Turkish. The dissertator introduced their own common translation of original Kitab of Musical Kabir into the scholarly use, as where the previously translated version is English and Turkish. Although the researcher for the first time carries out the comparative analysis of the concept of aesthetic consciousness of European, Arabic, Turkish, Kazakh researchers to prove the paradigmatic integrity of theoretical and methodological component of Al-Farabi, Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir. Criteria number 3 is the principle of independence. The first text manifest of individual distinctive personal style, a higher level of right. In addition, with methodological means, with the level of a conceptual content of the work as a table, the reference is the text of appropriate. The author shows the higher culture, the desires, the scholarly text. Criteria number 4, the principle of inner unity. The author's text manifests of individual distinctive personal styles, a high level of writing. In addition, the methodological means with the level of author's conceptual content of the work, of the compare the reference in the text of appropriate. The author shows the higher cultural design of scientific text. It's criteria number 4 to point. The content of thesis reflects the topic of the research in detail. Its aims and objectives, the main points, the thesis result of conclusions are consistent with each other, they correspond to the thesis topic. 4.2 or 3, sorry, the goals and objectives of the dissertation work correspond to the research topic and reflects the content of the dissertation work. 4.4, consider a relationship between the philosophy, music, and aesthetic is ancient philosophy. Study music as a form of aesthetic consciousness to reveal the essence of structures of Al-Farabi philosophy of music. To present the content of Al-Farabi work Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir and determine its role in the world culture. To explore Al-Farabi's approach to music through the relationship of sensation, perception, emotion, thought, and reasoning. And 4.5, various critical analysis. The offer critical analysis approach the relationship between philosophy, musical, and classical Western, modern, and Kazakh philosophy using the extensive methodological toolkit, contrary to the principle of Eurocentrism. Eurocentrism attempt is made to reveal to the deep meaning of Al-Farabi legacy in dealing with current problems, the interdisciplinary nature. The author's translation to the second master's work should be assessed as a manifestation of intellectual courage and innovation in the researcher's action. Criteria number 5, scientific novelty principle. 5.1, as the main achievement of the dissertation is translation of Al-Farabi, the big book of music in the Turkish and English. So the translation as a so they achieve the goal and objectives of the study. 5 to point to consciousness, the conclusion of the thesis are new. The conclusions are confirmed by the result of detailed comparative analysis of the work of Al-Farabi and modern researchers. And 5.3, technological, economy, or management decision are partially new, reasonable. Next, 6 criteria is the validity of the main findings. It may be noted that the content of the text is adapted to the topic as much as possible. The scientific conclusions, the result are based on extensive evidence. The thesis provides deep and systematic analysis of the most significant aspect of Al-Farabi's music and science. Therefore, the translations Al-Farabi Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir is made, and its higher roles in world culture is defined. I think that shortlist was will turn the complex problems of social and cultural spheres into the subject of critical study of his creative praxis. Criteria number 7, it is the main provision to the defense. 7.1, the main points, thesis approves the scientific consist. The additions of philosophers offers example of using method of general humanities of the interdisciplinary level in his work. It was concluded that each principle was proven. 7.2, the operating principle are trivial, that is not superficial, with items rate. No, it was observed the offers presented each result after examining is from the theoretical point of view. At the same time, he's looking for the ways of applying is to social and cultural practices. 7.3, the total number of scientific result and provision is equal to 5. The first provision is proven. A comparative analysis of Plato, Aristotle, and other philosophers reveals the paradigmatic essence of Farabi theory of methodology presented in the classification of science, which he later used to create by theory of music. As the second position, the nature and essence of aesthetic perception, the idea of experience music with the body was the first analyzed the basis of detailed analysis of the works as contemporary scientists. As the first principle reveals the exclusive roles of Al-Farabi as the founder of Islamic philosophy, which is a synthesized series of praxis of substantiations of philosophical music theory by comparing and analyzing the works of Eastern philosopher and interpreting the views of modern philosophy. The fourth provision, based on the analysis of the author's version of the translation of Kitab al-Musiq al-Kabir, shows the relationship and correlation with the methodology of music theory with the philosophy and logic of Al-Farabi. The fifth position, detailed analysis of works of Farabi and the protection of the modern studies, cognitive psychology demonstrates the logical structure, epistemological, aesthetics, ontological component of the unity philosophy and music through the justification of the concept of emotion and musical thinking. For the above reason, this dissertation is rated yes. 7.4. The application of the provisions, the development of modern education and science, the social environment is set of the book. The main scientific result of the thesis can be fully used in the fields of social science and humanities, and musicology, cognitive psychology. The dissertation is extensive. We believe that based on the materials, it's possible to prepare the special scientific seminar or the online course of high school, which are feasible in the future. And 7.5, the main provision of the thesis are sufficiently sustained at the level of domestic and so foreign publication. About is so required. Articles were published in English. The author's article was published in journals in Scopus. In this sense, the works meet the requirements. Therefore, this item was evaluated as was. Yes. Criteria 8, the principle of reliability of source and information provided. The choice methodology is justified. The dissertation compares the logic and methodology of scientific knowledge of Aristotle and Farabi, presenting is a classification of science actualize the connections of philosophical essence of aesthetic consciousness with modern approach, the cognitive psychological musicology, rose the importance the concept of measure in the Al-Farabi music theory, synthesizing the practical theoretical aspect of scientific knowledge, puts forward the original concept of musical thinking and physics, the encoding of emotion, content of reasonable foundation of emotion, for example, the modern concept of emotion intelligence. 8.2. The results are derived from the reconstruction, the synthesis of Al-Farabi works, updates the interdisciplinary approach, solving the epistemological and methodological aspect of interactions, the physics and metaphysics of modern science. 8.3, the result of attained base of updating the universal method of Al-Farabi's philosophy with paradigmatic status. They also supplemented by the comparative analysis of the works of modern researchers, translation and commentary of the works of Farabi himself. In his regard, the result of the dissertation works are reliable and interpreted the higher level. In addition, the main result of the works have been published as a peer-reviewed scientific article with a good citation rate, which does not increase the doubts about their reliability. 8.4, the position are confirmed as dissertative about philosophy and theory of music refers to the work of classical and modern authors, including Kazakhstani researchers. It is a hope that the analysis materials by Kazakhstani researchers will occupy a prominent place in the author's future scientific works. 8.5 is list of literature is sufficient for the review of scientific literature on the topic. The office has managed the correct scientific literature related to such concept and aesthetic consciousness, music theory, and classical, modern, Western, Eastern, Kazakh philosophy, including efforts translated to who researched of Al-Farabi legacy. The author managed to include her translation of Al-Farabi works in the list of historical, cultural, philosophical works to achieve the objectives of the thesis. And criterion number 9, practical value principle. The dissertation has the highest theoretical value. This is due to the fact that the authors correlate music with other science and shows the relationship emotion with the mind and embodied on the methodology of Al-Farabi. 9.2, the dissertation contributes the Kazakhstan Farabiography with the part of global Farabiography and big book of the music with the dissertation has a great prospect of influencing contemporary music theory, neurology, psychology, that's the phases of development of the special course of the music theory. The study is a big book of music. Is necessary to popularize the scientific works of Farabi with the development of the liberal education and art in the Kazakhstan educational system. 9.3, the practical recommendation of the thesis can be described as completely new because the theoretical basis of the author's reflection of consists with the model of creative thinking and emotional intelligence, which is the beginning of implementing the model of spiritual man, completed from the practical points of view, the upbringings of education of modern student and young people. And the last criterion number 10, the quality of writing design. The quality of academic writing in the text present by the author can be described as a higher level. This is the the fact that the authors use method and principle of historical, philosophical, culturological, social philosophical analysis, whereas widespread the academic circles, mainly in theoretical and methodical terms. It is a note in the work that philosophical research is logical interlinked with the cultural and psychological research. Therefore, it is evident from the theoretical level of the thesis works that academic nature predominant. Thank you very much for the attention, dear colleague. I am finished my review.
Thank you. Thank you, Chopin Dararina. Thank you very much for your very in-depth comment. I think your review was very valuable and effective for the applicant. The floor for the answer to the reviewer's conclusion is given to the applicant. Please, Nurfer.
Okay, first, maybe Nurluhan shared my... Nurluhan, sorry, сделайте ссылку для прослушивания по первому вопросу, потому что она должна послушать музыку, а потом прокомментировать. Okay? It's my question. Okay.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
First, I need to share first question. Yeah, just a minute. Just a minute.
Okay.
Do
see.
you hear it?
I'll start. We have not listening. Звука нет почему.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Maybe I can repeat my first question.
Yes, please.
Yes, what ideas the Al-Farabi philosophy of music are practically realized in his in performance by Dimash Kudaibergen?
From genetics.
Yeah.
That's it. He says that for Dimash, from genetics, not from not after education, not like education. For Dimash, totally from genetics.
Yeah.
Genetically, not like not educated.
I think Dimash realized in the performance the universal total essence of philosophy of music and theory of music by Al-Farabi. Yes.
Yes, totally. Like he says that over the sensations, also over the five sensations, not with the five sensations, over the five sensations.
It's higher level intellectual and intellectual interpretations of music. Okay, thank you. And can I repeat the next question? What are you the prospect of studying of Al-Farabi philosophy personally in Europe? What do you plan to actualize in his philosophy?
Honestly, is a truth knowledge, is a truth knowledge searcher, not academically. If I don't study at an academic or faculty or somewhere, I would study at home. I would read Al-Farabi, because before I was reading Al-Farabi, Aristotle, Platon, Tasawwuf, Sufism, with the whole my life is a truth. Honestly, I'm a truth knowledge searcher. That is why I decided to start with the Al-Farabi, because I'm really influenced with the, everyone knows the Raffaello art. Every faculty of studies, philosophy studies, Raffaello art, all philosophers in the middle of the Aristotle's and Platon. And actually everyone tried to explain these, what the Aristotle tried to say to the Platon, what the tried to say to the Aristotle, rising hands ideas, or Aristotle says that stop or sign to the earth, or too much things we can say. But I'm so influenced in this art already. Already I'm observing this art every day. Try to think. Only the thing is, there is Averroes. Averroes observing. I'm not saying that looking at Aristotle's. Averroes, Ibn Rushd, observing Aristotle's in that Raffaello. When I read Ibn Rushd, I saw some knowledge. Maybe I felt. He showed me.
Excuse me, Nurfer.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much. Conclusion.
Thank you,
Al-Farabi, Superman. Yes, in super philosophy. Yes, in
thank you, Shukran, Adaralina. It was very interesting for us, and thank you for your performance. It's very interesting, creative. Thank you very much. You have time limit, and the floor is given to the reviewer Hanabayeva Anar Sadvakasovna, Doctor of Philosophy, Assistant Professor, School of Media Communications and History of Kazakhstan, International Information Technologies University. Please, Anar Sadvakasovna.
So can you hear me well? So good day again, the dissertation council members. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we hear.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to be quite brief because we have our official review according to the rulers. So, and first of all, I would like to say that this dissertation topic is really so relevant and actual. Why? Because we know that, as we mentioned today in our questions, so there are so many high demand and also importance of Al-Farabi's works. And in this regard, I would like to mention all criteria. So first of all, it is the topic of the thesis, and as of the date of its approval, and corresponds to the directions of development of science and or state programs. So in this regard, I would like to mention that the dissertation research and its results refer with priority areas of science development as research in the field of education and science. And also it is research in the field of social sciences and humanities. And the work can be viewed in the context of the state program Ruhani Jangaru and the 1150th anniversary of the scientist and philosopher, which is celebrated under the auspices of UNESCO. And also it refers to 7 facets of great step, the heritage and origins of the spiritual modernization of society, with such specific sections as great names of the great step and the 1,000 years of steppe, folklore, and music. Of course, in this regard, we need to say that in cultural aspect, it is so important and so great dissertation. And regarding next point, the dissertation also corresponds to the priority direction of the development of science and approved by the High Scientific and Technical Commission under the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And criteria 2. So the work makes a significant contribution to science and its importance is well disclosed. And today we can consider that research shows the importance of music and that fulfills scientific purposes in philosophical disciplines and in systematic and historical approach. Also, the dissertation work is sufficiently disclosed and makes a significant contribution to science, in particular, in scientific approach of understanding of the role of music from different way and in all Al-Farabi's work. And criteria 3, a self-reliance level. So this level is high, and we can see it from the results of the thesis and published articles in different academic journals. Criteria 4, the principle of inner unity. So the dissertation is justified by the relevance in the scientific heritage of Al-Farabi in the context of his philosophy of music is in high demand and not sufficient studied. Criteria 4.2, the content of the thesis reflects the topic of the thesis. So the topic of the study, its goals and objectives, the main assumptions submitted for defense, the results and conclusions are consistent with each other and correspond to the topic of the dissertation. And criteria 4.3, the purpose of the and objectives correspond to the topic of the thesis. And criteria 4.4, dissertation research is completely interconnected because it is structured, complete, holistic, and interrelated work. 4.5, there is a critical analysis based on the work of many scientists and thinkers according to the topic of the
Нурлыхан Қожаберген интернетте.
Интернет. Сейчас попробую позвонить. Қазір қосылып жатыр. Қайтадан.
Анар Садвакасованың несі интернет нашар болып тұр ғой, да?
Я здесь. Могу продолжить. Меня слышно, да?
Да, слышно. Продолжайте.
Да, вас слышно. Анар Садвакасовна, вы можете тогда без видео, наверное, если у вас интернет плохой.
Да, видать, у меня немножко сложности есть технические. Хорошо, Энергия, тогда я продолжу без видео. Okay, so criteria number 7. Can you hear me well? Меня слышно, да?
Да, слышно. Yes.
Okay, so we can continue then. Criteria number 7. Here we need to consider it is necessary to answer following questions for each provision separately. Yes, is it the provision proven, and also is it new, is it trivial, and application level, and is it proven in the article? So in this regard, I would like to say that provision number 1. We can see that number 1 is these are only possible with such a pure theoretical intuition. This faculty is a source of intuitive and irrational intelligence. Intuition is an evolutionary extension of the inner sense and the application of cognitive categories or understanding. It is and it used to create a whole through the unity of some elements intuitively. So is it the provision proven? So we can say that it is proven, and it is not trivial, and also it is new, and application level is wide, and is it proven in the article? Yes. And regarding number 2, so which is from a philosophical point of view, the problem of intersubjectivity and discussions are precious in terms of understanding the consciousness of the other. The language thought world axis has left its place to the aesthetic object thought world in the problem of aesthetic intersubjectivity. So it is proven, it is not trivial, it is new, and the application level is wide, and it is also proven in the article. Number 3, it is Farabi negotiated about tunes and reasons that are suitable for human nature in his works on music, as it reversing the claims of some musicianologists and also who saw early Islamic music as consisting only of theory. And he focused on the applicability of this not only in theory, but also in practice. Is it it is proven it is trivial, not trivial, it is new, and application level is wide, and it is proven in the article, yes. And number 4, it is Kitab al-Musica, has given us an idea about the causality and necessity of working on the philosophy of music, along with the scientific methods leading to the knowledge of the unknown first and subsequent foundations. So the philosophy of music helps to interpret and make sense of thoughts. From a phenomenological perspective, as Al-Farabi also writes, the body and the senses determine a person's philosophy and thought. So it is proven, it is not trivial, it is new, application level is wide, and also it is proven in the article. And last one is number 5. Farabi argues that sensation is an abstraction realized through sense organs within this framework. At the last stage of abstraction, form is perceived in its universal reality and utterly independent of its material relations, according to Farabi. So it is proven, and it is not trivial, it is new, application level is wide, and it is proven in article. So criteria number 8, so the principle of reliability, and 5.8.1, so the choice methodology is justified. 8.2, the results of the dissertation work are reliable and interpreted at a high level. In addition, the main results of the work were published in scientific articles which prove their reliability. 8.3, theoretical conclusions, models, identified relationships, and patterns have been proven. 8.4, important statements are confirmed. The answer links to works and publications in international journals and up-to-date scientific literature on the main statements. 8.5, used literature sources are sufficient. The list of used literature is wide and quite enough for a literature review on this research topic. And regarding criteria number 9, so 9.1, it is the dissertation has a high theoretical value, since the influence of music on scientific and educational aspects is so great that this work will be an important contribution to the philosophy of music. And also, I think, I'm sure that it can be also so great contribution to the cultural studies, yes. And 9.2, it is a dissertation is of practical importance, and there is a high probability of applying the results obtained in practice. And 9.3, practice suggestions are partially new. And criteria number 10, so dissertation work is done at a high level, and it is a completed research work. And according to all above mentioned, Nurfer Terkan's dissertation work is a serious contribution to the development of philosophy of music, and it is qualified scientific work and meets all requirements. So my recommendation to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy by specialty 8 DO 2202 Philosophy, Nurfer Terkan. Thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna Sadokasna. Thank you for your comments on the philosophy of Al-Farabi's legacy. In fact, you have done a comprehensive analysis. Thank you. The floor for the answer to the reviewer's conclusion is given to the applicant. Please, Nurfer.
Okay, I would like to thank you for all. I will take into account all these comments in my future research works. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dear reviewers, thank you very much for your feedback and suggestions. I appreciate the time and effort you have dedicated to reviewing the applicant's work and providing insightful comments. Dear colleague, the member of Dissertation Council, you have listened to the applicant, scientific consultants, and official reviewers. Now let's move on the next stage of our defense. Colleagues, let's move on to an open discussion. Who wants to speak on this dissertation? please, dear colleague.
May I?
Yes. Yes, Aslan, the speakers, please.
At the first, I want to say that I'm very glad to take part in our discussion and that I have opportunity to say my thoughts. In considering Al-Farabi's philosophy of music, it should be noted dissertation of Dalkieva Saida Diasana entitled "The Concept of Musical Science" of Abu Nasr Muhammad Al-Farabi in the treatise The Big Book of Music. This dissertation was defended in 2000 year, and dissertation of Alikbayeva Marjan Bashankızı entitled Philosophical Analysis of Al-Farabi's Musical Teaching. This dissertation was defended in 2010. Nurfer Terджan's dissertation is next attempt in considering Al-Farabi's philosophy of music in an interdisciplinary way. The problem of aesthetic consciousness, the deductive method in art, the coding of emotions are significant aspects. But I'll only share my assumption on ethical consideration of Al-Farabi's philosophy of music. Al-Farabi created a model of social harmony. This harmony is explained by the spiritual order, characterized by the universal hierarchy, at the top of which is a deity. The hierarchy is a system of values, the main criterion of which is virtue. Virtue represents the moral rationality and constant, permanent self-improvement. Intellect, knowledge, and morality in unity constitute the virtue of a person. Similarly, the purpose of art unites the aesthetic and ethical. The pursuit of excellence cannot do without the pursuit of beauty. The beauty of art, music, spiritually and morally develops a person. Consequently, the unity of the aesthetic and ethical in the consideration of music is revealed. The beauty of music can cause goodness in a person's heart. Music inspires the human mind to new achievements. Music conveys knowledge. It is an intellectual component. Thus, Al-Farabi's philosophy of music can be considered in three context aspects: cognitive, intellectual, aesthetics, and ethical. For instance, Al-Farabi in his treatise about musical harmony wrote, "Perfect consonances or harmonies of notes produced either by human voice or by instruments have been compared with food, whereas other less perfect consonances have been compared with gluttony. Too harsh and deafening sounds are not natural. These sounds are used in special cases. Their effect can be compared with the action of medicines or even poison in order to starve." So, music creates the harmony of the soul and influence to the formation of the personality. It's my opinion. That's all. Thanks a lot.
I will take this also note for my further development.
Thank you, Aslan Беспекович. Наталья Львовна, да, пожалуйста.
Уважаемый председатель, уважаемые коллеги, действительно, вот сейчас я выскажу, наверное, свое мнение. Когда я ознакомилась с диссертацией, я, конечно, во-первых, удивилась вообще вот этому несколькому такому неорганичному балансу, когда очень много страниц, по-моему, там 170 или 160 посвящены западному дискурсу философии музыки, и потом вот восточному немного меньше. Поэтому вот когда я диссертацию, конечно, читала, обширный истоочниковедческий материал был, но, на мой взгляд, показалось не очень-то достаточно вообще того, что мы можем раскрыть вообще философию музыку Аль-Фараби. Но я скажу, что я была сегодня приятно удивлена, когда я слышала ответы нашего диссертанта. Вот исходя из этого, я, в общем-то, увидела, что диссертант прекрасно владеет материалом, который он вообще презентует и раскрывает вообще вот эту идею музыки Аль-Фараби в трех вот этих главных аспектах. Может быть, это недостаточно, конечно, прозвучало, но мне кажется, вот в дальнейшем необходимо диссертанту, если она, я думаю, она будет заниматься в этом направлении дальше, остановиться на вот этих, конечно, главных трех моментах, где Аль-Фараби показывает музыку. Первый – это онтологический статус музыки, он возвращает, собственно, да. Второй – это гносеологический статус музыки. И третий – это антропологический. Вот эти вот три компонента, которые составляют вообще сущность как раз философии музыки Аль-Фараби, которые раскрывают вот сегодняшнюю актуальность. Вот заслуга диссертанта, конечно, в том, что она показывает такой историко-философский пласт исследования феномена музыки, как философии музыки, потому что если мы действительно войдем в дискурс исламского мира и античного мира, мы понимаем, что вообще музыка, математика и философия, они как бы шли вот в этом таком гармоничном единстве. Но нужно отметить, что, в общем-то, это не просто такое перечисление. Вот исходя из ее ответов, которые я слышала, она как раз, в общем-то, много говорит о том, что в этих как раз воззрениях выявляется сущность музыки, ее субстанциональность, да, и, собственно, вот структурированность, и что музыка – это не просто какое-то такое искусство или жанр искусства, а это как раз глубинная, в общем-то, такая рефлексия, которая связывает вообще человека с эстетическим миром и этическим миром тоже. Вот особенно мне понравился ответ диссертанта по поводу влияния, так сказать, вот музыки Аль-Фараби на тюркский, да, компонент, который задала как раз Айнура Дурбуленна, и тем самым она открыла вообще перспективу такого как бы нового прочтения, да, Абу-Наср Аль-Фараби. Чем вообще хороши вопросы по такие диссертации по философии, особенно по историко-философскому наследию, потому что всегда, когда идет интерпретация историко-философского наследия, мы открываем какие-то новые страницы. Вот здесь вот я, собственно, не то, что прям поразилась, мы много занимались вообще-то философией музыки, да, у нас был 10-томник, где мы писали комментарии о философии музыки Аль-Фараби, много чем занималась отечественная школа, российская школа, вот здесь вот и представители сидит, известный ученый, Кирабаев, знаменитый академик, да, но вот здесь, что интересно, вот этот выходит на свет концепт макама. Вот если, конечно, мы обратимся вообще к трактатам, и в том числе, допустим, трактатам по музыкальному искусству и философскому осмыслению музыки в исламском мире, а я имею в виду кого, прежде всего, это и братья Маусили знаменитые, да, ну, это и, собственно, Аль-Фараби, это и огромное количество других, в общем-то, представителей, это и Аль-Кинди этим занимался, да, и Софи-ад-Дин, и Кутуб-ад-Дин, и Мараги, и Ладики, Джами, и можно еще перечислять очень много. Но нигде вот в этих трактатах мы вообще конкретно не увидим слово «макам», как вот такой концепт объединяющий, да? Но мы увидим что? Мы, конечно, увидим вот эти знаменитые лады, где Аль-Фараби говорит о вот этих понятиях мустаким, раст, исфахан, салмак и так далее. И вот диссертант прекрасно вообще нам открывает, да, что вот эта связь исламского мира, тюркского мира, и вот здесь вот этот феномен макам, он вообще очень многозначен, и он выступает как вообще вот это вот трагедийный, ну, я бы сказала, такая драматическая линия вообще в музыке, да, это вообще-то такая трагедия. И вот если мы возьмем известных авторов по поводу, которые интерпретируют сегодня макамы, то мы говорим о том, что вообще вот этот вот макам, он, по сути дела, отсылает нас к пифагореизму, да, семиструнный вот этот вот семиступенчатый лад, когда вообще макам раскрывается, как бы идет от начала, как бы из пустоты несколько ладов, нот, и вдруг вообще к вот этой вершине. То есть вот это вот очень мне понравилось, вот диссертант как раз вот это вот и показывает, да, то, что формируется музыкальное мышление, которое основано на философии понимания музыки, от абстрактного к конкретному, да, вот, пожалуйста, вам вот эта методология. Поэтому, если изначально вообще-то вот как-то вот это нагромождение всего в диссертации, сейчас я вот вижу, что диссертант вообще свободно владеет материалом, да, и вот это вот очень хорошая как раз идея, я тут много накидала, пока она выступала, что вот макам как раз связан и с этническими традициями, да, и с тюркской традицией, и он везде разнообразный. Мы знаем арабский макам, турецкий макам, иранский, азербайджанский, узбекский, да, и так далее. Если мы вообще-то и копнем сюда в глубину, то мы увидим вообще и казахский макам, да, в общем, да, исходя, если будем исходить из кюя знаменитого, да, вот и мне здесь казалось, что вот это вот такая какая-то логическая преемственность, онтологическая, исламского музыкального искусства, вот здесь вот и тюркского мира, здесь вот как раз она и показала нам вот этот вопрос, на который я ее просила ответить, в чем специфика вообще, да, понимания аль-Фараби музыки. Это как раз вот на примере же уда знаменитого, да, музыкального инструмента, вот это нота ля, до ноты до, да, кто здесь сидит, музыканты, кто учился хоть немного музыкалки, да, ну, в общем-то, все, в общем-то, мы понимаем, да, о чем идет речь. Поэтому здесь вот я считаю, что в этом смысле, конечно, несомненно, что я опять обращу внимание на то, что в диссертации, конечно, слишком зашкаленный вариант изложения все-таки западного дискурса, начиная от античности, да, очень подробно там Пифагор, Аристотель. Кстати, там вот диссертант пишет про Аристотеля, но вот здесь вот как раз разница, необходимо вот ее понимать, что Аристотель, он вообще у нас практик, да, он вообще тяготел к практическому освоению мира, в том числе и через музыку. Он вообще музыку считал не видом такого теоретического искусства, как это считал Платон, да. Платон говорил о том, что познающий музыку, познающий структуру музыки, он становится мудрым. В то время как Аристотель под музыкой понимал лишь как воспитательную дисциплину. Он считал, что ее необходимо, ну, так сказать, втиснуть в общеобразовательный компонент, да, и, ну, как и, собственно, было, да, и в Риме, да, 7 свободных искусств знаменитое, да, то здесь, то у Платона, конечно, музыка – это вообще возвышающая, вот это Аль-Фараби говорит. И вот это тот момент необходимо все-таки было учесть. И второй момент, на который вот необходимо было бы обратить, то, что все-таки, когда мы говорим о музыке Аль-Фараби, то необходимо было учитывать исторический контекст. Я имею в виду хронотоп времени, потому что если мы помним, вы же помните, мы не можем это отрицать, что по многим масхабам вообще музыка-то запрещалась, и мы знаем огромное количество дискуссий в исламском мире, халяль-музыка или харам-музыка, да, и так далее. И вот заслуга и величие, да, где как раз приводились, да, и, собственно, и различные тафсирования было этой проблемы, да, интерпретации и так далее. И здесь вот как раз заслуга Абу-Насра аль-Фараби в том, что он возвращает вообще вот этот онтологический научный статус музыки, и когда музыка становится, вот выступает как онтология, гносеология и, в конце концов, антропология. То, что вообще она связывает вообще душу человека. Ну, в общем-то, у меня все, а то нам, философам, только дай возможность поговорить, да. Поэтому я считаю, что работа, достойная работа, руководителя я хочу, диссертанта, поздравить, но, конечно, несмотря много к чему можно придираться, конечно, в этой работе, но сама вот идея, которая была донесена через вот эти вопросы, которые мы задавали, достаточное количество было, я считаю, что работа завершенная, она удалась, и, в общем-то, я буду голосовать за присуждение степени, которая, в общем-то, заслуживает вполне диссертант. Спасибо большое.
Рахмет, Наталья Львовна. Спасибо вам большое за подробное выступление по теме сегодняшней диссертационной работы. Thank you for your ideas and your presentations on the topic of the dissertation. I hope all your recommendation will be taken into account in future studies. The floor is given to the applicant to respond to the comments of non-official reviewers on the dissertation council. Please, Nurfer.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Just reply for these non-official reviewers. Just share their ideas. You can just reply, comment this.
Yeah, just unofficial my ideas.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Actually, if I could have a unlimited time, I could speak with this commission to the morning, the other 3 days, because I'm so excited to work with this on this subject, because this subject is full subjects, really interesting subjects. There is really good, what I really want to everybody has to study about Al-Farabi. First of all, as such, it is important to examine your own epistemological beliefs when selecting a theoretical framework. Our beliefs are influenced by assumptions, values, and ethics are all personal postulates. It is impossible to not have preconceived notions, even if they are very general nature. Due to this, your fundamental belief affect you will examine and explore research, especially your theoretical framework. In this way, it is important to reflect on your own worldview and way of conceptualize problems. What is the lens with which you view the world? For example, if you view the world from a pragmatic lens, choosing the critical theory would not be the best way for you to proceed with a theoretical framework. Whereas if you view the world through a lens, if you interconnectedness of human beings, social network theory might be a good choice. As your study's theoretical framework, there is no one theory that fits best with an inquiry. However, it is the researcher's responsibilities to select and provide a clear rationale for the choice of theory to ensure that it allies and supports to the structure of the study's purpose, research questions, significance, and design. I would like to express my endless graduate Professor Gülcan Nurishwa and Professor Professor Georgia Straitris, who encouraged me to start my journey with the phrase back to Ithaca. It was the best word for inspiring me for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Nurfer. Who wants to speak on this dissertation? Божихан Жумабаевна мне пишет, что будут еще выступающие. Коллеги, кто еще желает выступить в качестве неофициальных рецензентов на данной защите?
Давайте я несколько слов скажу.
Да, Нурсер Игоревич, пожалуйста, вам слово. Угу.
На русском, на английском. Я выслушал внимательно экспертов всех, они дали положительные отзывы. Ответы на вопросы в целом, они как бы прояснили, уточнили позицию диссертанта, и в особенности ту новизну, о которой был вопрос у первого нашего коллеги. Я прочитал 2 ее статьи на английском языке, мне они понравились. В целом презентация была тоже по существу. Я поддерживаю мнение коллег, присоединяюсь к ним. Работа достойной оценки PhD. Ну, на будущее, что я хотел бы пожелать. Для того, чтобы философия музыки была все-таки философской проблемой, а не музыкальной проблемой, мне хотелось бы как бы посоветовать в будущем увидеть то, в чем музыка как философская проблема проявит себя в полной мере. Я имею в виду в картине мира. Вот когда мы музыку увидим в картине мира, мы можем говорить и о феноменологии, мы можем говорить о герменевтике, о чем угодно, потому что музыка дает нам новую картину мира, которая основана на идее гармонии. Числовая пропорция Пифагора, она ведет к гармонии, и здесь музыка играет большую роль в этой картине мира. Если берем из современных мыслителей, то это, конечно, Чорлёнец, который сумел это просто показать на своем примере. Здесь же как раз очень важно, что речь идет о теории и практике, и вот эта теория и практика как раз позволяет задать вопрос о том, что Аль-Фараби увидел особенности не европейского, не западного восприятия музыки. Вот это, наверное, очень важно. Потому что все-таки, если первая большая книга музыки создана Аль-Фараби, вот я думаю, что это сыграло большую роль. А так я еще раз подчеркну, что работа достойна того, чтобы за нее присвоили звание доктора философии. Спасибо.
Спасибо вам большое, Нур Серикович. Нурфер, вы можете ответить на рекомендации неофициального рецензента Нур Серик Кербаева.
In English, I think.
Yes, you can in English.
Can you repeat in English, please?
Нурлхан Хожиберген қысқаша ғана, рекомендации.
Можно повторить рекомендации, пожалуйста, я пропустила.
Я думаю, что здесь в двух словах рекомендация идет о том, чтобы философию музыки рассмотреть.
Нур Серикович, извините, если можно, просто напрямую на английском скажите рекомендации, да. Так лучше, наверное, будет.
My recommendation for your future research project, it's necessary to connect idea of philosophical approach to this your main theme with idea of outlook, because special picture of the vision, of the world vision, it's very important when we discuss about the music as instruments of phenomenology, of hermeneutics, and another. This idea. Thank you.
I will take my note for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Colleagues, let's proceed to the secret ballot for the decision of the dissertation council. I ask you to vote. Voting links were sent to email addresses where you need to choose one of the options. First, over the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD. Second, to send the dissertation for revision. Third, to send the dissertation for redefense. And fourth, to refuse to over the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, or Doctor of the Profile. And now a break is announced for the secret voting procedure to defend Terkan Nurfer's dissertation on the topic Al-Farabi philosophy of music in the specialty AD 02202 philosophy.
Yeah, dear colleagues, I have sent the link. Please just vote for the decision. На почту отправила вам ссылки голосования. Спасибо.
Рахмет. Спасибо большое.
Я не получил пока.
Она Gmail почту отправила вам.
Ну вот я ее открыл, жду. Я даже сейчас я попробую
Обновить, может быть.
с айфона, да, попробовать. Я помню. Все отправил, спасибо.
Спасибо.
Что-то такая у нас тишина.
Сейчас голосует. Пока не до конца, сейчас ждем. Еще 1-2 голоса остались.
Получается, все защиты только онлайн идут, да? Даже оффлайн смешанных нет, да?
Была только одна защита Кулумжанова Нуржан Еркановича оффлайн. Мгм. Все, да, Нурхан Кожебергеновна?
Все.
Хорошо. Тогда продолжим. Dear colleagues, for the announcement of the voting results, the floor is given to the academic secretary, Nurhan Kожebергеновна.
Thank you. So, by the decision of the Dissertation Council for the preference of Nurfer Terджan, for specialties 8D020202 philosophy, 100% for awarding the degree Doctor of Philosophy. All members and reviewers.
Thank you. Colleagues, we must approve the draft conclusion and the collocation criteria of the dissertation. I ask you to vote unanimously. Yes, against. There are no abstainers. It was, yes. This is project conclusion of the dissertation council. There are criteria of dissertation. Classification features of the dissertations. First, the nature of the results of the dissertation.
Характер результатов диссертации.
Какой пункт предлагаете?
1.2 тогда, да?
1.2. Solving a scientific problem of important social, cultural, economic, or political significance. And second, the level of novelty of the results of the dissertation.
2.2.
2.2.
Результаты являются
2.2.
не новые. 2.2. Третий пункт. The value of the results of the dissertation. Ценность результатов диссертации. Три, два, наверное, да?
2, да, раз мы даем 2.2, да?
И четвертый пункт. Connection of this thesis topic with planet research. Initiative for
4.3 инициативная, да? Если она не входит в какой-то грант, если она не участвует.
4.3.
Инициативная работа, да? Так, пятый пункт. The level of implementation use of the results of the dissertation of applied significance.
Ну, в принципе, 5.3, наверное, да? Потому что в рамках ведения, исламоведения, религиоведения, да?
Да.
И шестой пункт. Recommendations for the extended use of the result of dissertation of applied significance. Рекомендации. 6.1 или 6.2?
Ну, в принципе, можно как популяризировать наследие, да, если... Давайте тогда мы 1 тогда дадим, да? Пусть идет. Как...
Да.
Спасибо.
Коллеги, мы должны тогда проголосовать за результаты голосований и критерии диссертационного исследования. Colleagues, we must approve the draft conclusion and the classification criteria of the dissertation. I ask you to vote Yes, against. There are no abstainers. It was decided to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, to Terджan Nurfer in the specialty AD 02202 Philosophy. Dear colleagues and esteemed board members, I express my heartfelt gratitude for your valuable presence and active participation in thesis defense. Your insightful comments, critiques, and feedbacks have been immensely helpful in enriching the research and refining the arguments. I wish you all the best and look forward to staying connected in your academic pursuits. Thank you very much. And congratulations, Nurfer and Guljihan Жумабаевна Нурышева and Георгий Стерис. Поздравляем вас.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you for your leadership, enlightening my way. I really would like to say too much things, but thank you very much.
Our congratulations, Nurfer.
Congratulations. Enjoy your day.
You're good. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Congratulations.
Спасибо большое, уважаемые коллеги.
Бәріңізге көп рахмет. Көп рахмет.
Гульжихан Жумабаевна, поздравляем уважаемую диссертантку.
Рахмет бәріңізге.
Рада
Өте
была
қуаныштымыз.
коллеги.
Бөлген уақыттарыңызға үлкен рахмет.
Все, да? Ужин.
Да. Айнұр Дүрберенова, Нұрлыхан Қожабергенова, рецензенттерге, диссертациялық кеңестің мүшелеріне бәріңізге шын жүректен алғысымды айтамын. Уақыттарыңызды бөліп, қаншама уақыт 3 сағаттай отырдық. Жақсы талдау жасадыңыздар. Болашақта жұмыстарды әрі қарай жалғастырамыз деп мен ойлаймын. Аман болыңыздар. Көп рахмет бәріңізге. Нур Серикович Москвадан қосылып отыр. Бәріңізге. Аслан Дубспекович, бәріңізге көп рахмет. Айжан Сагиевна, Шолпан Айдаралиевна, очень хороший был анализ. Наталья Львовна, вам большое спасибо. Прямо нам перспективу конкретную показали. Анар Танабаева, бәріңізге көп рахмет.